Hello everyone, my name is Kat. I'm from Katoria's Crafts and I'd like to spend a little bit of time to show you guys how to start some basics for crochet. I'm going to start all the way at the really far end of basics. You've never picked up a crochet hook. You've kind of looked at the yarn in the craft store, but you've not really done anything with it. You've just kind of watched a couple of videos, but haven't really had a chance to start. So I'm going to kind of start with the different types of hooks that are available, different kind of yarns, how to do a slip knot, and how to start a chain so that you can begin a project. So kind of kicking off, we're going to start with the hooks first. There are two different kind of hooks that you can purchase, and it is a matter of preference, though some hooks are better for different kinds of yarn. So the first one is going to be tapered. So this is tapered. And what this does is it is a shorter throat. This right here is called the throat. And the thumb hold is a little bit further back, but it's got this real soft and easy hook on the end. The other is an inline. This is inline. The throat is a lot deeper. The thumb hold is a little bit higher up. And the hook itself, I feel, kind of grabs the yarn a little bit easier. This is my favorite kind of hook. I won't use these on more delicate yarns though. So anything that's real feathery or something that tends to split, this can be a little bit sharp and it will grab, so it can possibly get a couple of strands of yarn that will break off or get stuck in your chain or in your stitch. So it's just a matter of kind of playing with the yarn and the hook itself to see which kinds you like. I have multiples of both, but I really prefer the inline over the tapered itself. So the next thing that I wanted to look at is different kinds of yarn. Yarn is going to come in various sizes, lots of different ways to pull the yarn. This is just a ball or a skein of number 4 worsted weight. So this is kind of your general go-to. It is one of the most common sizes. The lower the number, the smaller the hook size that you'll need. It gives you a lot of the care instructions on here as well when you're looking at a skein. So number 4 right here is going to be your size. It also has a size for your knitting needles and then the size for a crochet hook. Now, not all number 4s are going to use the same size hook. This one uses an I9 hook, and that's going to be shown on the actual hook itself. This might be a little bit hard to see right here. This one is a US H8, also a 5mm. They go in order as far as size goes based on the millimeter. So an I9 is a little bit larger than the H8. An I9 is 5.5mm. H is 5mm. And that's going to be the section right here on the throat that it's measuring, not down here, but up here near where you get to the thumb hold. This is actually the 5mm section of that. Yarn also comes from a lot of different places. This is acrylic. So it's going to be machine wash, machine dry, very easy to care for. You can also get yarn that are animal based. So, sheep or lamb or alpaca, natural fibers, as well as ribbons and things like that, and cotton. Cotton is fantastic for anything that you want to use in the kitchen, pot holders or anything like that, and even washcloths. So we're going to go ahead and get started with doing a basic slip knot at this point. So let's take a second. I have a very small swatch of yarn. You can use a yarn bowl for this, but I just have a nice little cat bowl that I'll use to keep my ball from rolling away. They do make yarn bowls that have cutouts for the yarn. I just like to have mine kind of somewhere that just keeps it from going anywhere. So moving on to making slip knots. Slip knots are actually very, very simple to make. You have your working yarn, which is attached to your bow. And what you end up doing, there's a couple of ways to do them. The fastest and easiest that I have found is to kind of make an X on the bottom side of your finger. So you start out from below, wrap it over your finger once, and then over your finger behind it. This gives you a nice X. You just grab this first piece of yarn closer to your fingertip and push it back over that second piece. So now it's looped around, and then pull that second piece off. As it pulls off, it loops everything through, and you have a nice slip knot that'll come out as soon as you pull it. You can also, if you know how to do slip knot other ways, it does work. That's just my easiest way. One of the others that I've seen is to have it the same way where it's looped over your finger twice. If I could get my yarn to cooperate today. And you go under this first loop, grab the second and pull through. It's doing the same thing, creates a nice slip knot, and you just tighten it down and it gets nice and secure on your hook for you. So again, just kind of pull that out for you, wrap it around once, wrap it around twice, go under the first loop, over the second, and pull it underneath. Pull your finger out and just cinch it tight on the hook. So that's going to be the first way to get your project started, is to make sure that you have a nice slip knot on there that you're able to adjust a little bit as needed. Second thing that we're going to, or fourth thing, I suppose, that we're going to look at is chaining. Chaining is going to be your basis for almost every project unless it calls for a different kind of stitch for your first row. It's also used whenever you're going up to the next row on most projects. It's used to give you space in between your stitches if you need a hole. If you're adding stitches or removing stitches, you're going to see chains a lot. So the easiest way to do chains, or really the best, the only way to do chains, is to have your hook in your dominant hand and have your yarn wrapped around your other fingers just to kind of keep tension even so that things aren't moving around. You don't have a whole bunch of slack, because then your stitches will end up too loose. If you have too much tension, it's going to end up being too tight, makes it harder to work down the road. Best practice that I can tell you is to practice a little bit with it. Grab some yarn, grab a hook, make your slip knot, and just chain for a really long time until you find that comfortable space where your yarn is being held and you can keep the tension pretty even. This isn't too tight. It's not going anywhere though. I just keep it wrapped, kind of do like a J, like you would in sign language. Go over my other, or under my second two fingers and over my index finger. And that just kind of keeps everything pretty well secure. There are also different ways to hold your crochet hook. There's holding it in the knife or holding it like a pencil. Neither is incorrect. It's, again, just a matter of comfort for you. So what you're going to do to start chaining is just make sure that you have a nice, easy loop. It's not too tight so it doesn't get stuck anywhere. And you're going to do what's called a yarn over. So you take the hook itself, you cross it over and underneath the working yarn, which is in your non-dominant hand. And you grab onto that yarn, and as you do, you're going to see that you have this little hole right here underneath. Kind of tilt the hook end towards that hole and pull it through. So that creates a chain. And it's this little V right here. It's three parts, this V, and then the back hump here. So those three pieces are each chain. So that would be one chain. And you just keep pulling over. So you go under the yarn and over it, grab onto it and pull it through that loop that's on your hook. Every pattern is going to require a certain number of chains to be able to start your basic pattern on there. So there are going to be different instructions for how many to chain. It's a matter of keeping count. There's lots of ways to do that. If you're like me and I just crochet in front of the television, I will put stitch markers in depending on how large the project is, either every 10, every 25, and just kind of keep track of how many it is that you're going. So we're going to go through this again. So you just go under the yarn and yarn over so that the yarn is going across the back, and pull that yarn through. And this is how you go through and do all of your multiple chains. So you just kind of keep going. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right now. You never count the hoop or the loop that is on the hook itself. So that's 6, 7, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through. And as you're making your chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, you want to move your fingers up so that you can keep the tension on your chain as well as on your working yarn. So yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Move your fingers up a little bit, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through. So that is a basic chain. Like I said, you're going to have your V, so you have your two sides of your V, and on the back you have your back loops or back humps. Some patterns will have you work into the back. Some patterns will have you work into only one loop. Some will tell you to pull the top two. So instead of pulling through this one, you would pull through that and grab the back loop at the same time. It's all a matter of what the edging is supposed to look like on the bottom of your work. So we've covered a lot. We'll go through more. There's going to be a lot of tutorials for basics, and then we'll start with some patterns working in as well. But again, if you'd like, give me a thumbs up. Click on the subscription link below to get all of my videos, and I look forward to seeing you next time.